Today we're talking about the 4 must-have tools if you want to start doing ornamental railings in 2019. Yeah, just 4. Look, you obviously need a welder, and I'm assuming that you already have a welder if you're watching this video. And I'm also assuming you already have some sort of hood or face protection of some sort. Otherwise, you have a face made of leather. But beyond those 2 obvious things, here are the 4 things that I say that you need if you're gonna get started, especially if you are new to this field. The first one might surprise you a little bit, but nozzle gel and, same thing, only in a spray form, anti-spatter spray. These things will save you a ton of time and cleanup and will also take care of your gun while you're welding. Now these are hugely important, especially if you have not been doing this for years and years and years and been able to build up your technique to help mitigate some of that spatter and build up on your gun. Number 2 is a pair of good wire snips and needle nose pliers. These will save your butt when your MIG gun gets clogged and you gotta snip that wire. If you don't have these, especially if you are out in the field, you are screwed, and it is a really ridiculous thing to be screwed with, and it makes you feel really dumb if you don't have a pair of these snips with you. Now, number 3, and probably my favorite tool in the entire shop, even with all of the tools I have at my disposal, angle grinder. An angle grinder with all of the attachments that you could possibly have. But most important, if you can't have any other attachment, is a flap disc. And I say a flap disc is way more important than a grinding disc. The reason being is a grinding disc, if you're not really good at using an angle grinder, that grinding disc can really eat into your metal, and once you start eating into it, you're kind of screwed and your project isn't going to look great. That's why I love using a flap disc, because it's like a grinding disc and sanding disc all in one, and it gives you a nice smooth finish, and it's much easier to control yourself if you start to see yourself digging into that material. It's a lot easier to kind of ease off a bit. Now I also suggest having a wire brush attachment for your grinding disc. It just helps get all the excess rust and debris and stuff off of material before you're painting. Now the other great thing about an angle grinder is, well, you can use it as a saw. You can use it to cut your material, small material. You can't do big, huge material, but for the most part, anything that you're going to be doing for a railing or like some custom furniture or that kind of thing, you can use an angle grinder to do that by getting some good cutoff discs. They're about $2 or $3 a piece. We have boxes of those things here, and it's a great way to cut your material if you don't have the money to put into a chop saw or a band saw or anything like that. Now the other thing I think you need is an account with a metal supplier. Now of course I'm gonna say King because, well, you're here on King's channel, and I happen to think that King is the best resource for welders big and small, whether you're trying to order material or just trying to get some knowledge and learn about this craft and the material that we're using. I think King is amazing, and they also supply great ways to use their materials with their design concepts catalog. They're just a great place, and they're here for welders like you and me. Now, even if you don't have an account with King, I highly recommend you building your relationship with whatever metal supplier you have at your disposal. Building that relationship and having a good relationship with your metal supplier is hugely important if you're going to be building projects on an ongoing basis, especially if you're going to be doing a lot of custom type projects, because they can really help you get the best deals and also help you source out, odd type materials whenever you need them. All right, so that's it for this one. Look, I know some of these might have been a little different than what you were expecting, but these are the things that I could not live without. It's now, much less being a beginner welder and getting into this ornamental railing type business. These are the things, if you're getting started, will help you so much and save your butt, like those little wire snips, and having a relationship with your metal supplier like King. Really, that one right there is probably the most valuable piece of advice I can give you, is building a relationship with your metal supplier. And of course, I think King should be that supplier. All right, guys, that's it. See you next week.